Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Soul Land 2 episode number 98 based on novel. So let's start. At this point, Skydream activated the power of the Ice Jade Empress Scorpion Skeleton. As a 100,000-year soul beast, the Ice Jade Empress Scorpion Skeleton sealed the origin energy of the Ice Empress. The frigid Jade Essence Bed was originally used to further the fusion, but no one had expected a sudden reversal in the Snow Empress soul power that made it perilous. This also caused the Ice Empress to enter a state of hibernation. At this point, Hua Yuhao's body had already reached its limit. He couldn't withstand the strength of the ultimate ice anymore. However, the Ice Jade Empress Scorpion Skeleton hadn't reached its limit yet. Under Skydream's control, a part of the origin energy was absorbed as the radiance expanded and retracted. This helped to neutralize the crisis that Hua Yuhao was facing. The blue-green radiance appeared once again, ballooning in size before shrinking. The external blazing sunspring's frightening heat helped to protect Hua Yuhao at this point. Because of its suppression, the Skydream Iceworm was able to dispel the remaining chill as he helped to compress the origin energy of heaven and earth into Yuhao's skeleton. This made the entire shrinkage process much smoother. This carried on several times. After 9 consecutive times, Hua Yuhao's body wasn't just exuding an turquoise radiance anymore, he had actually turned pale blue. His body was still aching, but at least he was able to move now. He felt much more comfortable once he could move his body. However, his soul power had stalled, as it was affected by the origin energy. Only a fifth of it was able to circulate, and even then, the circulation was much slower. Yuhao, the skeleton has also reached its limit. It can't compress any further, otherwise there might be danger. You can only rely on time to continue absorbing this strength. The Snow Empress was a little extreme. I'm afraid you won't be able to unleash your full abilities for some time. However, the extreme chill ice spring will be very beneficial in waking up the Ice Empress. After all, her spiritual sense will recover faster under the nourishment of the origin energy of pure ultimate ice. The Skydream Iceworm was rather exhausted. After all, most of his spiritual origin had fused with Hua Yuhao. Now that he had activated the Ice Jade Empress Scorpion Skeleton, it was equivalent to him establishing a connection with Hua Yuhao's spiritual power again. He was helping Hua Yuhao now, and wasn't just controlling on his own power. Thanks, brother Skydream. I feel much better. Hua Yuhao heaved a sigh of relief and released a gust of white gas from his mouth, releasing a chill into the region that the blazing delicate apricot occupied. Blazing delicate apricot, please open a path. I'll go over to Yo-Yo's side. He struggled to stand up and looked at Wang Chua, gesturing to her that he was fine. The blazing delicate apricot wasn't in a particularly good mood. She couldn't wait for Hua Yuhao to leave. After groaning, she immediately instructed the surrounding plants to open a path for Hua Yuhao to return. She wanted to act up, but she didn't when she saw the snow lady on Hua Yuhao's shoulder. She was traumatized after almost being crushed into powder. It was her first time experiencing such a complete elemental suppression of her abilities. Hua Yuhao could walk, but he estimated that his current abilities were only as good as they were when he was at rank 30. It was difficult for him to even activate flying-type soul tools. His meridians were still aching, too. The surfeit caused great harm to his body and could definitely be called an internal injury. At this moment, the air that he was exhaling was extremely cold. He also looked pale, and his body felt very cold. This was the huge price he had to pay for the Snow Empress awakening. Hua Yuhao revealed a bitter smile on his face. Ever since the Snow Empress had entered his body, he had suffered greatly. The last time, it was a complete reversal of the Snow Empress' strength in his body, causing Electrolux to burn his divine sense in a bid to save him. This time, he almost blew apart. It was a huge headache for him. However, this encounter had also enlightened him. Hua Yuhao realized that he could restore the Snow Empress memories temporarily if he possessed immense ultimate ice soul power. He could even unleash her tremendous abilities. Of course, he couldn't do it with his current cultivation. The Snow Empress only appeared today when he tapped into the origin energy of heaven and earth from the extreme chill ice spring. If he wanted the Snow Empress to really make a move, he needed to have at least 7 or 8 soul rings. Furthermore, it would at most be there for only 1 or 2 attacks. However, it was good that there was such a possibility. It was like his eldest senior's Radiant Holy Dragon's awakening, and his third senior's Xuanwu Turtle's awakening. It's just that the Snow Empress awakening was of a more advanced level. In addition, he had no control over her, either. He had to take things slowly. Perhaps the Snow Empress memory could be fully restored when he became a transcendent Doluor in the future. As he thought of that, Hua Yuhao turned to look at the Snow Lady on his shoulder. He still believed that she was much better right now, rather than with the Snow Empress memories. At least the Snow Lady listened to him. Furthermore, she was very cute. The Snow Empress was too cold, just like Wang Chua. Wang Chua followed behind him, and her nose started to turn itchy. She looked as if she wanted to sneeze, but she managed to suppress it. As she looked at Huo Yuhao, she could sense that he wasn't feeling well even though she didn't know what was happening to him. However, she could still feel it due to their martial soul fusion. The frightening awakened existence had caused great damage to his body. However, things became much smoother after he paid the huge price. This was evident from the blazing delicate apricot's attitude. Who would dare to offend the terrifying existence in Huo Yuhao's body? It had released an extremely strong aura that could destroy everything here. Even Wang Chua was petrified when she faced the might of the Snow Empress. She had only ever experienced a similar feeling when Huo Yuhao heaved a sigh of relief as he returned to the delicate Silk Immortal's side. He lowered his head to look at a book in front of him and said to her, "Apologies, Yu. I didn't imagine something like this would happen. Perhaps I was provoked by something in the outside world, and thus the Snow Empress was awakened." The huge, pink flower on the delicate Silk Immortal was still blooming. However, the scent was less evident. She groaned and said, "Stop shedding crocodile tears. Return my pill if you are truly apologetic." What left Wang Chua and the delicate Silk Immortal shocked was that Huo Yuhao actually retrieved the pill and nodded as he said, "All right, I'll return it to you." As he spoke, he actually walked towards the delicate Silk Immortal and passed her the pill. "What? You're really returning it to me?" If the delicate Silk Immortal could reveal facial expressions, she would be very stunned right now. Huo Yuhao said sincerely, Yu, I didn't come here to look for treasure, I'm not looking to obtain anything. I'm only here to retrieve the yearning heartbroken grass for my lover. I hope to receive your help. I'm extremely apologetic for what the Snow Empress did to all of you earlier. I don't want this to cause a conflict between us. Not only am I returning this pill to you, but I'll also return what the Snow Empress took from the blazing delicate apricot. I just hope that there are no more obstructions, and I can search for the yearning heartbroken grass. The delicate Silk Immortal was incredulous. Wait. Huo Yuhao, do you know what you're saying? You must know that the blazing rubber that our Jiao produces is of top-notch quality. A normal blazing delicate apricot can produce very little of the rubber even after 10,000 years. Such a large quantity of rubber is sufficient to increase the cultivation of fire-type soul masters to the level of the ultimate fire. It's very valuable. My pill is even more impressive. If you have it, all lethal poison will lose its effect within a 300 square foot region. Even if you are infected by poison and the poison has entered your blood, the poison can be dispelled once you place the pill in your mouth. They are considered treasures. Priceless treasures. Are you going to give them up just like that? Huo Yuhao's expression was very calm as he nodded. He said, "To me, the only priceless thing is my lover. I don't want to have a conflict with all of you because of these external possessions. Take it." As he spoke, he placed the pill directly into the flower of the delicate Silk Immortal. He let go of the pill and allowed it to roll down. Wang Chua was in a daze as she looked at Huo Yuhao, but she didn't say anything. She didn't try to stop him at this point. She only felt that something was stuck in her heart, and she also felt a great sense of loss. The delicate Silk Immortal sighed, and her petals started to open. The purplish pill drifted back above her stamen. "Ah Jiao, what do you think?" she actually asked the blazing delicate apricot. The blazing delicate apricot also sighed and said, "That person once said that it was easy to find valuable treasures, but difficult to have a lover. Let him pass. He's probably one of the special humans." The delicate Silk Immortal said, "All right, I shall let you pass. You've passed all the tests that person left behind. Return our Jiao's stuff and you can start reading that book. If you need help, I can help you, thanks." Huo Yuhao was delighted. This was the ending he wanted. To him, nothing was more important than Wang Donga. He didn't wish to offend these plant-type soul beasts because of his greed, which would affect his search for the yearning heartbroken grass. He wasn't willing to risk anything. He returned to the blazing delicate apricot excitedly, and passed the blazing rubber back to her. Don't give it directly to me. Just place it on the ground. I want to reabsorb it once the ultimate ice melts." The blazing delicate apricot was evidently terrified of the ultimate ice left behind by the Snow Empress. When she saw Huo Yuhao placing the rubber on the ground without any hesitation, her scarlet-red body swayed a little, and she spoke again, "It's easy to find valuable treasures, but difficult to have a lover. You are a good person." Huo Yuhao grinned and replied, "Thanks. It'll really be good if I can leave with the yearning heartbroken grass." After he finished speaking, he returned to the delicate Silk Immortal's domain. He sat down cross-legged and started reading the book. This book was completely snow-white, and the material used to make it was unknown. The book was soft and felt a little like silk, but it seemed tougher than silk. It was also slightly damp to the touch. There weren't any words or title on the cover page. Huo Yuhao sat cross-legged and flipped open the first page of this book. There weren't many words on the first page, but those that were there felt very ancient. "I'm glad that someone can see my last words. If you can pass the delicate Silk Immortal's test, it proves that you are qualified to read this book." This book was left behind by Tang Sek's ancestor, Tang San. It records the difference between the various types of immortal and poisonous plants. There are also some lost Tang sect methods of using poison. After you learn them, please leave this book behind. You must also use these abilities prudently. Huo Yuhao was shocked as he read this. He didn't expect that this book recorded the Tang sect's ways of using poison. He was originally doubtful of the blazing delicate apricot and delicate silk immortal's words. They weren't referring to Wang Dong's father. It seemed like his doubts were right. The person who really left this book behind was Tang San, the founding ancestor of the Tang sect. He was also the one who had discovered this place. Wang Dong's father must have had passed the test too, and found the yearning heartbroken grass. It was just that he couldn't leave with it, and thus he left behind these words in the book. As he thought of this, a few of his doubts were resolved. This was undoubtedly the most appropriate explanation. He quickly flipped to the second page. He who has an affinity. Hello, I am the founder of the Tang sect, Tang San. The Icefire Yin-Yang well is a gift from heaven. The extreme chill ice spring and blazing sun spring exist together here. Yin and Yang complement each other. It is one of the blessed lands. The Doluor continent as a whole is also a blessed land. After I discovered this place, I didn't dare to take it for my own. I found some valuable herbs here along with my partners and regrafted some of these rare yet valuable plants. Whoever you are, you must rid yourself of greed since you passed my test. You can't ask for more. You can only take 7 types of herbs from this place. The methods of using poison can save and harm people. Those with ill intentions can destroy lives. That's why I intentionally left the medicine and poison chapters of the mysterious heaven treasure record here. Only those who have passed the test will be able to learn it. Whoever learns this treasure record will be considered a part of the Tang sect, and I hope you'll look after the sect. If you are unwilling to join the sect, please return the book. You can still obtain the herbs under the delicate silk immortal's guidance. If you are willing to join the sect, you can't leak the chapters either. You can only use them yourself. Exercise caution, mysterious heaven treasure record, hidden weapon 100 separation, medicine chapter delicate silk immortal, the jinx of 100 poisons. It has the effect of neutralizing all poison. It can't dispel poison on its own, but it can curb poisonous substances. Its scent is clear and refreshing. All poison around the delicate silk immortal becomes useless. Its scent can neutralize all poison. Its flower is pink, and its petals are snowworms are another way to refer to top-quality cordyceps. Snowworms are grayish-white in color, and there are ring patterns on them, 8 in total, and the central 4 rings are the most evident. It is thin and long, while its color ranges from light to deep brown. Its cross-section is slightly longer than most cordyceps, and there's a slightly larger spore at the top. This spore is bright yellow on the outside and white on the inside. It is plump and juicy. Not only is it larger than an ordinary cordyceps, its uses are much better too. Just in the Icefire Yin-Yang well, 9th grade Trigopterus dung, an invaluable treasure. It's nurtured by the spiritual energy of heaven and earth and needs to absorb star anise mysterious ice grass. It possesses huge white flowers in the shape of star anises. The stamen in the center of its flowers shine like ice crystals. It doesn't possess any scent. It's located at the center of the extreme chill ice spring. Oh my. Huo Yuhao started to become agitated after just a slight loot at the book. He hadn't expected to obtain the medicine and poison chapter left behind by Tang San. It wasn't a problem for him to enter the Tang sect, since he was already a part of it. At this point, the delicate silk immortal's voice sounded, "Hey, have you finished reading the first few pages? Are you willing to join the Tang sect? If you aren't, you can't continue reading. I promised that person." Huo Yuhao lifted his head to look at the delicate silk immortal and smiled. He answered, "I'm a disciple of Tang sect. Of course I'm willing." "Oh, you're a disciple of Tang sect. Let me take a look at your mysterious jade hands, then." Huo Yuhao nodded and lifted his hands. He slowly circulated his mysterious heaven technique, and his hands slowly turned the color of jade. As his body condition wasn't at its peak right now, he couldn't fully use his mysterious jade hands. However, it wasn't possible for him to fake the mysterious heaven technique. "Alright, that's fine. You can continue. After you finish reading, return the book to me. That's why you'd better memorize it, alright?" Huo Yuhao nodded, then started to read the book seriously. He didn't read it in order. He quickly found the record related to the yearning heartbroken grass. Yearning heartbroken grass, also known as the yearning heartbroken red flower. It looks like a flower, but it's actually grass. It has a white flower the size of a palm. There are no leaves, and its stem is connected to a black stone. The yearning heartbroken grass is one of the most valuable herbs. There's a legend about it too. A long time ago, there was a young man who lived a very simple life. He loved plants and flowers, and he had a whole garden of them. He would spend most of his time with his flowers. Every time his flowers wilted, he would become extremely sorrowful. He would then gather their petals and bury them. He even spent time mourning their loss. His love for flowers touched the flower god in the heavens, who descended to the mortal world and came to live with him. They had a great time together. However, this didn't last. The other gods and deities were enraged when they found out about this. They believed that gods and mortals shouldn't be together, and recalled the flower god back to the spiritual realm. When the youth lost his lover, he became very depressed and started to neglect his flowers. As a result, his garden became a pitiful sight. One day, a white-haired elder came and told him that his favorite white peony in the garden was the reincarnation of his beloved wife. As long as he destroyed the flower god would lose her divine body and could return to the mortal world once again. They would be reunited then. However, he couldn't forsake his garden. After the elder finished speaking, he turned into a gust of wind and disappeared. The youth was jolted awake and regretted neglecting his flowers. He started to take good care of them again. Although he loved his wife, he couldn't bear to destroy the white peony. He took even greater care of the flower and shared everything with it. Eventually, he died heartbroken. Before he passed away, he dripped his blood on the flower petals, and the peony instantly turned into grass. The white petals were stained with the youth's blood. That's why it's also called the yearning heartbroken red flower. The flower isn't ordinary. When you pluck it, you must think of your lover. After that, you must spit out your blood on the petals. If you have other intentions, you'll die before you even pluck the flower. After plucking it, the flower will never wilt as long as it's with its owner. If the flower is forcefully destroyed, the yearning heartbroken red flower will also lose its medicinal effect. Consuming this grass has the effect of preserving one's body. One can even extend his lifespan by 10 years and greatly increase their soul power. Previously, my wife loved me deeply, and I plucked this flower. She was once a 100,000-year softbone rabbit who was reborn into a human. To save me in a crisis that followed, she sacrificed her soul ring. I'm grateful to this grass for saving her. Before I left, I returned to the Icefire Yin-Yang well to plant this flower again. It awaits someone who has the affinity to pluck it once more. The yearning heartbroken grass will only work for lovers. Destiny can't be forced. You must remember that. You must remember that. The medicine chapter introduced the yearning heartbroken grass more thoroughly than the rest of the immortal grasses. However, Hua Yuhao still felt that it was too short. There were 2 paragraphs of a touching love story. The first paragraph introduced the possible origin of the yearning heartbroken grass. The other paragraph recorded the love story of Tang San and his wife. Tang San's story touched Hua Yuhao more, as he understood the life of a soul master. When he saw the word sacrificed, he felt his blood surging in his body. Their love must have been very deep for Tang San's wife to sacrifice herself to become a soul ring. Humans could actually get together with soul beasts. Although Tang San only briefly mentioned how the grass was his benefactor, Hua Yuhao knew that the backstory wasn't so simple. Only Tang San would know how much pain and torment they went through back then. After taking a deep breath, Hua Yuhao calmed himself down. Wang Dong's beauty filled his mind at this point. Donga, I'd also sacrifice myself as a soul ring if I were a soul beast, and protect you forever. As he thought until here, he revealed a grin on his face. Her beautiful figure in his mind also became clearer. After calming himself down, Hua Yuhao started to quietly flip through the Tang sect's record in his hand. In addition to his impressive memory, his spiritual power was also considerable. He only flipped through the entire book once, but he managed to memorize all its contents. Then, to make sure he didn't miss out on certain points, he read it again. After that, he stood up and returned the book to the delicate silk immortal. Yu, can you tell me about the various plants that were introduced in the book? Hua Yuhao asked. All right. Perhaps it was because Hua Yuhao returned her delicate silk immortal pill, she agreed to his request readily. Under her guidance, Hua Yuhao managed to learn more about the various magical plants in this Icefire Yin-Yang well. No one understood this place like the delicate silk immortal. She even clearly told Hua Yuhao about some soul plants that weren't recorded in the book. They only stopped when darkness fell. Wang Chua passed the dry rations that she had just heated up to Hua Yuhao without saying a sound. She only lowered her head and started to munch on her food quietly. Hua Yuhao looked at her and smiled. He said, "Thanks, Chua." Wang Chua was a little startled. She lifted her head to look at him, and saw the clear light in his eyes. For some reason, she shivered slightly in her heart when she saw the look in Hua Yuhao's eyes. An ominous feeling started to rise inside her. Wang Chua's senses were not inferior to Hua Yuhao's, since she possessed the golden dragon's perception. She suddenly felt that he wasn't ostracizing her anymore, and didn't try to keep his distance from her. The look in his eyes was extremely calm and amiable as he looked over. He treated her as a friend now. Yes, he treated her only as a friend now, a good friend one treats with respect. However, this was what made Wang Chua anxious, because he was no longer afraid of what had happened between them. After receiving Niu Tian's letter, Hua Yuhao entered the setting sun forest and came to the Icefire Yin-Yang well, where he finally obtained the mysterious record after going through many ordeals. To him, everything was a test of his heart. He was training his heart throughout the entire process, and his love for Wang Donga became deeper and deeper. Hua Yuhao felt that his heart had become clearer after he read about Tang San and Xiao Wu's love and sacrifice. The clarity also helped him realize why he was terrified of Wang Chua. It was because the goddess of light had left a deep impression in his heart, which made him afraid of her. He was afraid that he would fall in love with her. However, this crisis had also helped him recognize his true feelings. In his heart, there was only one person and one goddess of light. That person was Wang Donga. After recognizing his true feelings, he didn't need to worry about other things anymore. He could face her normally now. What's there to thank me for? I didn't do anything. You managed everything on your own, Wang Chua said coldly. Hua Yuhao said, thanks for accompanying me here. I will remember this favor. If you need help in the future, you can tell me. Wang Chua snorted, no need. Since you have so much energy to talk nonsense, I suggest that you use it on eating and cultivating. With your current state, I don't even think you can control a flying-type soul tool, okay? Hua Yuhao was already used to her indifferent attitude, and so wasn't too bothered by it. He quickly consumed his meal before starting to cultivate. 3 days. Hua Yuhao took 3 days to learn of all the plants in the Icefire Yin-Yang well. This place contained more than 2/3 of the immortal and poisonous grasses recorded in the Hidden Weapons 100 Separations Medicine and Poison chapters. This place deserved to be called a blessed land. There were some plants that weren't recorded in the chapters, but the delicate Silk Immortal introduced them to Hua Yuhao in detail. With her help, Hua Yuhao managed to turn a special herb into a concoction, and he recorded it at the back of the record. Alright, your memory is astounding. I have taught you everything I know. You are a good student. After a few days of interaction, the delicate Silk Immortal and Hua Yuhao had also become more familiar with each other. Although she was rather naggy, she was actually quite a peaceful character. She also formed a decent friendship with Hua Yuhao. Hua Yuhao nodded, then turned his head in a certain direction. It was the area where the yearning heartbroken grass grew. He had seen the divine products created by the grass before, but he didn't rush out after it. He memorized the special characteristics of the surrounding herbs instead. Thanks, Yu. Can I start now? Hua Yuhao asked. She replied, anytime. As long as you think it's possible, you can do it. After that, you can take away 7 different types of herbs from this place too. If they have successfully turned into plant-type soul beasts, you can categorize their finished products based on their medicinal effects. For example, there's my pill and our Jiao's rubber. These are the rules that Tang San left behind. In fact, the pill and rubber would have been included among the 7 if you didn't return them to us. Hua Yuhao thought for a moment before saying, is the full moon piercing autumn dew that I've eaten included? The delicate Silk Immortal's pink flowers swayed a little, and she said, no. It was used to test you. If you didn't pass the test, nothing would have followed. Hua Yuhao immediately said without hesitation, I only want to take 2 things away today, the yearning heartbroken grass and the blazing rubber. As for the other 5 types, I'll come in the future when I need them, alright? Why don't you want my pill? It can neutralize countless poisons, it's very useful. The delicate Silk Immortal was advertising her own ability. Hua Yuhao answered, I'm not going to need it now. I'll leave these 5 chances for the future. If my partners or friends need emergency help in the future, it'll be convenient for me to find suitable herbs here. The delicate Silk Immortal said, what about the star anise mysterious icegrass? It's very suitable for you. It'll greatly increase your cultivation. To be conservative, I expect it to increase your soul power by at least 5 ranks. It absorbed the extreme cold from the extreme chill ice spring, and the frigid rain dew separated from it is more effective than the blazing rubber. Hua Yuhao shook his head and smiled. Ancestor Tang San said that we can't be greedy. I have already absorbed the full moon piercing autumn dew, and I also obtained the origin energy of heaven and earth absorbed by the snow empress from the extreme chill ice spring. I can't take more for myself. The origin energy will take some time to fully digest. As he spoke till this point, he laughed bitterly. The origin energy absorbed in his body was too immense. It was so immense that even the Ice Jade Empress Scorpion skeleton was filled with extremely pure energy. Hua Yuhao's own body was like a receptacle that was completely filled. If he wasn't careful, he might blow apart. He had to be extremely cautious in his cultivation right now. He could only activate the circulation of his soul power through his narrow meridians to absorb the origin energy for his own use. His meridians were also under great pressure, to the extent of being internally hurt because he was being continually struck by the origin energy of the extreme chill ice spring. It was even difficult for his life gold's immense life power to restore his body. Hua Yuhao felt that the Snow Empress had used his body's limit as a blueprint when she was absorbing the origin energy earlier. Over, Hua Yuhao could also sense that once he absorbed more than half of the origin energy, his cultivation would soar. In addition, it would be much easier for him to absorb the remaining origin energy once he reached that stage. His ultimate Ice Martial soul was a result of fusing with the Ice Empress. This time, he had completely tempered his body into an ultimate ice body. This was also the intention of the Snow Empress, and it would be very beneficial for his future development. The Skydream Iceworm told him that he wouldn't suffer from the repercussions of wielding ultimate ice once he managed to absorb all the origin energy. After he absorbed it completely, it might even help him obtain a martial soul true body. The only problem was that he had no idea how long it would take for him to absorb it all. Furthermore, his cultivation was currently stuck at 3 rings, as he couldn't overactivate his soul power. Just as Wang Chua had said, he couldn't even command a flying-type soul tool. The delicate Silk Immortal made a snorting sound and said, "You really don't want my pill?" Hua Yuhao smiled and replied, "If I need it in the future, I'll ask for it." "Thanks, Yu." The delicate Silk Immortal groaned, "Then you should get going. I don't think you can stay any longer either." She was right. He had been gone from Shrek Academy for a week. Although he knew that nothing would happen to Wang Dong's internal injury, he was still very anxious. In order to be more prepared to obtain the yearning heartbroken grass, he had to make sufficient preparations. He couldn't be distracted at all. Otherwise, there wouldn't be a second chance if he failed. This was what he was afraid of. A dim light flashed, and Hua Yuhao revealed a focused gleam in his eyes. He clasped his hands in front of his chest. Every time the light in his eyes flashed, the air would distort slightly. He didn't rush out to pluck the yearning heartbroken grass. He stood up and looked into the distance, in the direction of Shrek Academy. Slowly, the calm expression in his eyes started to turn gentle. There was only one figure in it, and he started to smile. He recalled the first time he had met Wang Dong. She had been extremely arrogant then. She was obviously a girl, but she dressed up like a guy. No wonder so many weird things had happened. They had learned and cultivated together. They even possessed martial soul fusion skills and unleashed the golden road amidst withering resplendence. They had been together for a long time. On the beautiful Sea God's Lake during the Sea God's fate, she finally revealed her identity as a girl. From the love at first sight, to destined in 3 lives, and finally to eternal love. "Donga, you have finally become my girlfriend. I was stupid, I was really stupid. It was only then that I was certain you were a girl. It was only then that I realized you weren't a brother or partner to me, but, Donga, I'm very foolish, right? In your heart, I've always been very foolish and stupid. However, you fell for me. With your status as the Clear Sky Sect's young mistress, you must have had many choices. With your ravishing goddess of lights looks, you can attract many guys. However, you chose me. You chose my ordinary looks. I was even the worst-looking fellow when we were first admitted to the academy. Donga, you've sacrificed a lot for me. What kind of pressure have you been under? You never told me. Even when Uncle Niu Tian and Titan doubted me, you stood on my side. You are my goddess, a goddess that I'll protect with my life. My body, heart and spirit belong to you. Donga, I love you." In his mind, the dancing figure of the raiment of light surfaced. Hua Yuhao moved as he smiled. He walked forward 1 step at a time. At this point, he seemed to have lost his focus and spirit in his own emotional world. There was a thick sense of love in his eyes. Wang Chua wasn't standing far away from him. She watched everything quietly. At this moment, she realized that she couldn't enter Hua Yuhao's heart like Wang Dong had. Her tears started to flow uncontrollably. She was crying in sorrow. Before she had met him, she had never imagined that she would shed tears for a man. However, she was really crying now, and she was even crying for Hua Yuhao. In just a short 7 days, his life had been in danger several times. However, he managed to survive everything because of his love for Wang Dong. His love for her was extremely deep. Why did I meet him so late? Wang Chua was crying in sorrow. At this moment, she didn't possess the dominance and toughness of the golden dragon anymore. She was only filled with the pain and sorrow of a young girl losing her lover. Hua Yuhao continued to walk forward. The delicate Silk Immortal didn't help him, but the sentient plants could sense his love, and they all opened a path for him as they pulled away to either side. Eventually, he came in front of the pitch-black stone and the white flower that seemed so vulnerable. The white flower was shaped like a peony, but it was much thinner than one. It didn't have any scent, and wasn't decorated with anything. There wasn't even a leaf on it. There was only a patch of blood red on it. It was color filled with sorrow. The yearning heartbroken grass. It bloomed and withered only for love. The divine product in the grass was also of a 10,000-year level, but it didn't possess its own intelligence or the strength of a soul beast. It wasn't that it couldn't evolve. If it chose to evolve, it would be the strongest out of all the grasses. However, it didn't do so because it was unwilling. It only wanted to protect its stubbornness for love. It was just like the scholar and Xiao Wu back then, waiting for the right one to come. Once they decided, they were willing to give their everything. This was the stubbornness for love that the yearning heartbroken grass possessed. Hua Yuhao stopped and looked down. He looked at the patch of red on the flower that was flashing slightly. Above the patch of red, it really seemed as if fresh blood was flowing. Donga, wait for me. I'll be back soon. Hua Yuhao slowly lifted his head, and a dim layer of golden light started to rise from his body. The weird thing was that the golden light was shaped like a flame as it surfaced. It was undulating slightly, as if he was burning his own life. Hua Yuhao's spiritual sea started to shake tremendously at this moment. The pure undulation of his spiritual mind caused his spiritual sea to turn into a smooth icy ocean. A golden figure started to dance amidst this icy ocean. A thick sense of love started to spread in his heart as the goddess of light appeared in his mind. Wang Chua was stunned to find out that a projection that was identical to Wang Donga had appeared behind Hua Yuhao as the golden flame rose. Yes, she was certain that the projection was Wang Donga, even though they looked very similar. Even the demeanor, aura, and look in the projection's eyes were all similar to Wang Donga. She was smiling. It was a gentle smile, as if she were sensing something. She floated behind Hua Yuhao quietly and shone along with the golden flame that Hua Yuhao emanated. The Skydream Iceworm was the most shocked right now. He crawled out of Hua Yuhao's body and turned into a ring. He was stunned to see the projection and muttered to himself, concrete immaterial realm. He has done it. He has focused everything into love. He has actually entered such a realm. His sovereign's descent will cease to exist now. What's left will only be the goddess of light that he has comprehended. Yes, Hua Yuhao's spiritual power had evolved. He was like Ji Juechen. He had found the path that fused both his spiritual and soul power. It wasn't the sovereign's descent anymore. The sovereign's descent was created by Elder Mu, but it wasn't his true path. The sovereign's descent had shown him a smooth road, but at this moment, he had found his own way. The name of this path was the same as his lover. It was the goddess of light. Hua Yuhao turned his right palm around and slapped his chest hard. Icy blue blood spewed out of his mouth and splattered on the surface of the yearning heartbroken grass. Suddenly, the yearning heartbroken grass started to shake. Hua Yuhao's golden projection also turned dim and disappeared. He stared at the divine product in the grass that could give Wang Donga life again. This pool of blood that he spat out was filled with his love for Wang Donga. His palm strike even caused the suppressed origin energy in his body to rage slightly. This origin energy started to course through his meridians. However, Hua Yuhao didn't seem to have any awareness of all of that. He only widened his eyes and looked at the fresh blood that had landed on the yearning heartbroken grass flower. He was in a daze the next moment. That was because he was stunned to discover that his blood had been affected by his origin energy and turned into ice. His blood didn't fuse with the flower, but turned to ice instead. It stopped seeping into the petals. No, this can't happen. Hua Yuhao panicked. Before this, his face had still been brimming with a smile of love. What do I do? What should I do? How has this happened? My blood has actually frozen? No, this can't happen. Suddenly, he turned around and ran quickly towards the icefire yin-yang well. The plants opened a path for him. Hua Yuhao, what are you doing? The delicate silk immortal and Wang Chua asked at the same time. That was because they saw Hua Yuhao bursting towards the blazing sunspring. It seemed like Hua Yuhao had failed to pluck the yearning heartbroken grass and turned crazy. Hua Yuhao was too quick. By the time Wang Chua managed to react, he was already in front of the blazing sunspring. Without any hesitation, he kneeled down in front of the blazing sunspring. He reached out both his hands into the sunspring. This video will end here. Thank you for watching.